Everything began when Nebuchadnezzar's daughter, Princess Amytis, grew up to become the most beautiful young woman in Babylon. With her golden hair and graceful posture, she enchanted everyone, but most of all, she caught her own father's attention. What first appeared to be a father's affection gradually turned into a sickly obsession. The king constantly kept his daughter by his side, embracing her and saying, "You are my most precious treasure," showing a closeness that crossed all normal boundaries. As the royal scribe, Nebuchadnezzar II, fearfully noted on the tablets, the king has begun to take too much interest in the princess. These behaviors are now exceeding the limits of what is normal. In 588 BC, Nebuchadnezzar arranged a marriage between his daughter and Prince Cyrus of the Persian Empire. Princess Amytis felt joyful, believing this marriage would free her from her father's suffocating obsession. But Nebuchadnezzar had a horrifying plan in mind. While arranging the marriage, the king set a chilling condition. "The wedding night belongs to me." The wedding night would become the darkest night in Babylon's history. At midnight, Nebuchadnezzar sent his guards to bring Princess Amytis into his private chamber. The doors were locked, and the king uttered these terrifying words to his daughter: "You are my most precious treasure, and tonight you will be with me. This is my right." The princess pleaded desperately, saying, "I am your daughter, this is wrong." But her cries were in vain. What happened that night changed Princess Amytis forever. Shortly after this trauma, the shocking news spread through the palace that Princess Amytis was pregnant. But according to the notes of the scribe Nebuchadnezzar II, she had never been with her husband after the wedding night. This child was proof of the king's incest, and it could mean the downfall of the Babylonian Empire. Unable to bear the horror she had endured, Amytis revealed the truth to her husband, Prince Cyrus. Consumed by rage, Cyrus devised a plan of revenge to punish Babylon's monstrous king. Nebuchadnezzar's crimes could not go unpunished. Meanwhile, the king, tormented by the weight of his actions, completely lost his sanity. He wandered the palace naked, behaving like an animal. At last, after years of torment, Princess Amytis decided to deliver the final blow. In 562 BC, she handed her father a cup of poisoned wine and whispered, "I forgive you, father." A few days later, Nebuchadnezzar died in agony. In his final moments, he understood everything, but it was already too late. Justice, though in the most tragic way, had been served. This story you have heard reveals how far a human being can go, a chilling narrative indeed. But history is often far more complex than legends. So, what is the historical reality behind these accounts? There is no definitive evidence in historical records that Nebuchadnezzar had a daughter named Amytis. However, the most well-known Amytis was actually Nebuchadnezzar's wife, the Median princess Amytis. According to legend, Nebuchadnezzar built the famous Hanging Gardens of Babylon for her, to ease her longing for the green mountains of her homeland. The story told in the tablets likely borrowed the queen's name and attached it to a fictional daughter for dramatic effect. Prince Cyrus and the timeline error. The greatest historical contradiction in this story is the character of Prince Cyrus. Nebuchadnezzar died in 562 BC, while Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon in 539 BC, 23 years later. Therefore, it would have been chronologically impossible for the two to have a father-in-law divided by son-in-law relationship, as the story suggests. Accounts of Nebuchadnezzar losing his sanity are found in the book of Daniel in the Bible. It tells how the king, in his arrogance, was punished by God and forced to live like an animal for 7 years. This remains a subject of debate among historians. However, there is no historical evidence that his madness stemmed from the guilt of incest, as the tale claims. The 2018 discovery and Dr. Hassan al-Rashid, the supposed discovery in 2018, and the archaeologist named Dr. Hassan al-Rashid, on whom the story rests, have no reliable academic, archaeological, or news record. A discovery of such magnitude would have echoed across the world. This strengthens the argument that the story is fictional in nature. Yet, despite all this, why is the tale so compelling? Because it fuses historical figures with the darkest and most primal aspects of human emotion: unlimited power, forbidden desire, betrayal, and revenge. The account of Nebuchadnezzar and Princess Amytis stands not as a true secret of Babylon, but as a modern legend written in the shadows of history. Whatever the truth may be, this story reminds us of how power can corrupt, and how justice, even if centuries later, can still echo through the stories we tell. History is not only the story of kings and wars, but also of the legends that continue to be passed down.